What's up, everybody? We are going to do a reaction video to Patrick Mahomes training, and people have been requesting more of these reaction videos. I'm going to hopefully do a better job of it this time, but yeah, without further ado, let's dive into it. As Mahomes has become he's the face of the NFL now. He's a well-known success story because what was he at? He's at Texas Tech, but he transferred and was a walk on. And let's not even get into the fact that recruiting is not an exact science. Let's dive into this training video here. All right, starting off with him doing some warm up stuff. And that's how all training sessions should start. Doing some footwork drills, doing some bounding here, and doing some rotational jumping. And so, look, if you look here, all right, one of the first things that he's doing is he's sprinting. This is fantastic. It looks like he's doing some ground starts with other people. Don't know who he's running against. But if you want to get fast, you have to actually sprint fast. You have to do fast things. So laying down on the ground and working on that projection angle is probably one of the best ways to work the early acceleration, because one of the things that I remember, God, why is his name escaping me? Gildersleeve talked about with knees being the steering wheel. So if your knees are the steering wheel, you want your knees to be pointing in the direction that you're going. When you're laying on the ground and you have to get up off the ground, your knees are actually already pointing straight ahead. And it's going to help you with that projection angle, because like he talked about and like they've talked about in Altus before, it's not just about the force you apply to the ground, it's the direction of that force. So push-up starts, fantastic way for you to work on that horizontal projection angle. All right, video goes on, doing some pushing and pulling stuff, landmine pressing, probably one of the best things for a quarterback, landmine pressing. You want that scapula to move. One of my former colleagues, Kyle Hashimoto, he was the one that made me really think about this. It's not just looking at the classification of horizontal push-pull, vertical push-pull. Think about it also in the terms of when you're doing those horizontal presses and vertical presses too, because you could be sitting down doing your overhead press, and typically everybody lays down when they bench for their horizontal push. But your scaps are locked and they can't move freely. And obviously, for a quarterback or a throwing athlete, your rhythm of that scapula on the rib cage is super important. All right. And when you're doing that landmine press and you can overextend and really reach that arm forward and let that scapula move around the rib cage, all right, that's going to be a fantastic movement for you, because one of the things I remember from one of Cressy's sturdy shoulder programs talked about the fact that you're going to get a lot of anterior shoulder pain when the scapula doesn't move with your humerus. So for anybody that needs a good analogy, if you think about a golf ball on top of a tee, all right, and if the ball moves without the tee, that's what happens if your humerus moves without the scapula moving with it. So you want to make sure that the humeral head, that golf ball, it is on the tee and that they both move together. That way you make sure you're not getting that grinding in the front of your shoulder. So having a quarterback here who makes his money throwing a ball, that's what you want to make sure, that scapula moves well with the humerus. Great movement. Having him doing reverse lunges, holding a shoulder saver bar. Also something that I did with my quarterbacks, because maybe they don't have the external rotation to grab it. Probably they do, because they're going to have better external rotation from everything that they do. But why put more of a load on their shoulder than they have to? If they can comfortably be here and you can still get the movement that you want of a unilateral knee dominant movement, fantastic idea. Looking at this right away, the dude's a unit. Like, he is a massive human being and clearly has big, strong legs, which is how he's able to throw the ball as far as he does in all those unique positions. Face pulls, doing some inchworm walking. Right, this one here, that's actually, we called it the gator walk when I was working at Harvard. Mullen used to have people do that with a 25-pound plate, but doing it with your feet on turf, that's also a fantastic way. If you think about the torso work, you're getting anti-extension work, right? Anti-extension meaning if your body is straight, you're resisting the ability to extend and go backwards. So you're working on keeping your body straight. The posterior shoulder work that you're getting, right? The low-level prep for the wrist, elbows, and shoulders, obviously very important for a quarterback and a contact athlete. More and more good movements here. Got people training with them using. All right, and there it is right there. All right, take a look at the video right over here, whatever. Yeah, you got to see that scapula moving with the humerus. If the scap doesn't move with the humerus, that's where you're going to be finding yourself in that pain in the front of your shoulder. So making sure that you are coming up with drills to have scap and humerus moving together is how you're going to get rid of that anterior shoulder pain. Whether you're doing exercises like this, whether you're doing exercises like foam roller on a wall slide, or using a band, or push-up pluses where elbows are locked out and you're just protracting and retracting to get that movement. I've seen people laying down on a bench, lock a dumbbell out, reach it forward, come back. All right? Protraction, retraction. Again, just making sure that there's movement there. You can do dips, but the elbows stay locked out and it's just movement again up and down for the scapula, but then you can do the same thing hanging. Just getting that rhythm and that timing. All right, people even can do that with their quadruped T-spine. All that movement is just fantastic for your shoulder health. And again, quarterback in the NFL, probably really important for him to have, which is why they are doing it. Some sort of weighted throwing thing, like that's what you need to do when you're a quarterback. Yes, you can apply what they're doing here is they're applying the specificity that you see within track and field. And that's why I think track and field is one of the better sports to work with, because they really understand the specificity of overloading or overloading the weight and overloading the speed of it. So typically in the stopwatch sports, that's where you'll see them doing a lot of the heavier implement throwing and lighter implement throwing to help either work with the speed of the movement or to overload the movement in those different ranges of motion. And then within the sprinting world of it, they'll use sleds or they'll use weights to resist the sled, and then resist the run. And that's because they know exactly what that person's personal best is, and they can now exactly define this is how much resistance and assistance we need, and they can get much more specific because their sport is the actual running event, not like in team sports where running is simply a component of it. And maybe in an ideal world, this guy doesn't have to run at all. He can just drop back, throw the ball, sling it, hand it off, doesn't have to do any running. But because he does have to do it, all right, that's why they prepare him for it. But in terms of his shoulder, preparing his shoulder to throw something lighter, faster, all right, that's good overload work. Preparing the shoulder to throw something heavier, all right, that's also fantastic work. Now he's getting into some quarterback specific stuff, and I'm not going to sit down here and overanalyze the throwing stuff here, but in terms of the pure weight room stuff that he was doing, all right, it was really basic, simple stuff. And I'm not trying to negligent, or I'm not trying to downsize that. I think that's actually a compliment to him and the people that are working with him here. He's doing simple things really well. He's doing lunges, a knee dominant push, unilateral. I'm sure they're doing in some bilateral movements as well. All right, he's getting his body warmed up with that footwork drills before he gets going. All right, cool. Low level, getting the body moving, prepping the foot and ankle, doing some sprinting and competing with people with sprinting. So you want to run fast, right? Learn how to run fast. And one of the best ways to do it is having people run next to you that you're trying to beat. Quick little snippet into what he's doing. Obviously, this is not the whole nine, but this is a guy who's at the top of his craft right now, and kudos to him and the team that are helping him do all that. But leave a comment down there. Let us know what other athletes you want us to do a reaction video from, and hopefully we will be able to provide exactly what you're looking for. Thanks. Have a good one.